I rented my first apartment with my then girlfriend, who I dated for about 6 months before we moved in together. It had been about a week since we moved in together, and everything was moving smoothly. Then one night, I got home from work to find her in the bedroom being mounted doggy style, with their backs to me. He was butt fucking her, which was something she'd never let me do. She was all tied up and blindfolded using the silk ropes I bought for us. The stereo was blaring, so they didn't notice me until I took a curtain rod to the back of his head. I left him passed out on top of her, still anally penetrating her, as she struggled to undo the ropes and figure out what the hell happened. I wrote a note that said, "My name is the only one on the lease. Pack your shit and get the hell out tonight, or the police will escort you out. You can come back for your furniture later." I taped the note to the headboard right in front of her face. I shut off the music and left. Came back 4 hours later semi-drunk with my buddy, and found that she was gone, but her stuff was still there. Everything was there exactly as I left it, except the note, which was crumpled up on the floor with semen and bits of feces in it. Wish I'd have known that before I picked it up. So we threw out the window anything that was hers, minus everything I paid for. Then we took all her furniture down to the parking lot, and left it sitting next to the bike rack with a spray-painted sign, also known as the box spring of her bed, that read cheating horse stuff. Do not steal. Then again, what the hell do I care? I chain locked and dead-bolted the door that night, but didn't trust that to be enough. Good thing I moved the heaviest furniture I could get into the doorway, because her roid-raging new boyfriend was trying to break in, and the next morning her stuff disappeared, and I had the lock changed. I heard from her again about a year later, in the form of dozens of little sticky notes left on my apartment door, ranging everywhere from threatening my non-existent children, to begging me to take her back because she's broke and living in her car. I did hear what happened to her eventually. She maxed out this guy's credit cards, which forced him into bankruptcy. He signed his car title into her name to avoid losing the car in the bankruptcy case, which happened to be the same Fox body Mustang that she was living out of. Turns out she caught herpes and gonorrhea from another guy she cheated on roid-raged man with, passed it back to him, and that's why he broke up with her. She wouldn't give him back the car, though. He ended up putting her in the air with a couple of broken ribs and a broken jaw, and posting pictures of sex scenes like the one I described all over her parents' Facebook pages as his revenge. To this day, you can still find her passed out drunk at 1 in the afternoon, with her foot hanging out the passenger window of a beat-to-hell Mustang, sitting in the same spot in her parents' driveway. As for me, after a couple rounds of really invasive STD tests, you know they stuff a cotton swab up your pee hole for one test. Space a few months apart, I'm officially clean. Had a rough couple of months paying for that apartment on my own, but as it turns out she quit her job the day after I signed a lease, so I would have had that roughness either way. I ended up moving in with one of my best friends, and we made that apartment work until we found a bigger one to include my new girlfriend, who is now my fiancée. I think I won. I was seeing a girl, and up until a certain point it was fun. She was a wild child who worked at a bar on a busy inner-city street, so she got us free drinks, free tickets to shows, and got to meet all of her really cool friends. We also went on rather ludicrous adventures through the city, and at night. Anyway, shit got a little bit intense, and her drug use was out of control. It stopped being fun when minor vandalism turned into arson, and hijinks turned into assault. So at a bar, I calmly told her that I loved spending time with her, and being friends was fine, but that I didn't think we should be sleeping together anymore. She was pissed but kind of okay with it, and said if that was the case, I could fuck off and she'd talk to me in a few weeks once she'd calmed down. I was terrified that she'd start hitting me or something, so when I was given a "get the fuck out of Dodge" card, I cashed it straight away. I walked halfway home feeling like I'd just dodged a bullet. Until the phone calls started. She kept calling, and when I wouldn't answer, she'd message me demanding that I come see her, or tell her where I was. This girl was unhinged to say the least, so I ended up ignoring them. Then she told me she was going to hunt me down through all my usual haunts, including my house. I ended up hiding out in a nightclub my friend worked at for about 6 hours. During that time she apparently waited out the front of my house in her car. After her search turned up nothing. My flatmate calls me and tells me she left, so I can come on home. I catch a cab, and finally crawl into bed, tired and a little shaken. Not 10 minutes later, she bursts into my room screaming at me, starts slapping me around, and calling me every horrible thing under the sun. I was in shock, and just sort of froze up. I had no idea what to do. She left after 20 minutes of using me as a punching bag, and also set fire to my couch. I had to show up to work the next day, covered in bruises, sleep-deprived, and shell-shocked. When asked what happened, I explained this story, and was subject to a long list of derision and ridicule. Worst part was when female co-workers told me it was my own fault for dating a crazy chick, and that what else did I expect? When I replied that if a girl was beaten up by her drug-addicted boyfriend, there would be an instant investigation, they told me, oh, it's not the same. I asked why and all I got was, it just isn't. A breakup, and a great look into the world of double standards. Hooray for humanity. I dated a girl for less than 3 months, long distance. I was going to college, and was just out of a 4-year relationship. She was stuck in my hometown. I had been slightly pressured back into the dating game by a friend. We went out on a semi-blind date, hooked up over the break, then classes started again. Obviously not a good grounds for a new relationship, so I come home one weekend to break up with her. She flipped, kept screaming and asking why. I gave her the exact reasons. This being that I don't want to be in a long-distance relationship anymore, and it would be at least 3 years before we could be together. I didn't exactly have strong feelings for her. She kept screaming about how she gave me everything, and I used her and left. Then started begging for a second chance. At multiple points I tried to leave. She tried to shove me down the stairs and block the door. This was after an hour-long breakup. She then blocked my truck's door. I opened it anyway and got in. She laid in front of the tire. I backed away. She texted me the next day asking me why we broke up. I ignored it obviously, as there was nothing more to say. For the next 4 months she called or texted me nearly every day. Finally, the day after I went Facebook official with a girl at college, she left me a voicemail. She said that the only reason she was so mad when we broke up and kept trying to contact me is because she was pregnant with my child. But she lost it today. I then find out that she had been telling co-workers the whole time that she only missed me because of the sex. And in her last relationship, the guy broke up with her and she took a mallet to his car. Glad to say I dodged a bullet.